My name is Diane Tran, and I'm 26 years old. 4 months ago, I ended a relationship that I thought would fade quietly into memory. My ex-boyfriend and I didn't explode. There was no screaming, no cheating, no dramatic goodbye at an airport terminal. We sat across from each other on my couch, knees barely touching, and agreed that something had gone hollow between us. He said he needed space to figure things out. I said I understood, and I meant it, at least at the time. By the time December rolled around, I thought I'd processed it, or at least compartmentalized it well enough to function. Christmas has always been sacred in my family. Same house, same creaky stairs, same mismatched ornaments we'd been hanging since childhood. I arrived on December 22nd to help my parents prepare, sleeves rolled up, pretending nostalgia didn't sting the way it did. That first night at dinner, my mom mentioned, casually, that my older sister was bringing someone special home. A boyfriend, she said, trying to sound nonchalant and failing. Dad nodded. She sounds happy. It's been a while. I smiled. Of course I did. My sister has always been the one who arrives complete. Career sorted, life polished, emotions contained. Whoever this man was, I assumed he fit neatly into her world. I didn't suspect a thing. The next afternoon, I was in the kitchen with my mom when we heard tires crunch against the driveway. She wiped her hands on a towel and practically floated toward the front door. I followed behind her, curious, relaxed. The door opened. My sister stepped inside first, glowing, and then he walked in beside her. My ex-boyfriend, the same man who had slept next to me 4 months earlier, the same man who knew how I took my coffee, who had memorized my laugh, who had held my hand while I talked about my family like it was something sacred. He was holding my sister's hand. Time didn't slow down. It stopped. My sister beamed. Everyone, this is my boyfriend. I don't remember breathing. I remember shaking his hand like he was a stranger. I remember my mother complimenting his smile. I remember him saying my name like it didn't already belong to us. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't ruin Christmas. I smiled, and something inside me quietly fractured. That night, I lay in my childhood bedroom, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the past year. Every question he'd asked. Every detail I'd volunteered. And for the first time, I wondered if our ending had ever really been about space at all. Christmas morning arrived, whether I was ready or not. I woke up early, partly out of habit, partly because sleep had abandoned me sometime around 3 a.m. The house smelled like coffee and cinnamon, the same way it always had, and for a few disoriented seconds I almost believed nothing had changed. Then I heard his voice downstairs, calm, warm, familiar, and my stomach tightened all over again. I told myself one thing as I got dressed. Just get through the day. Be polite, be helpful, don't stare. Don't ask questions you're not prepared to hear the answers to. That plan lasted less than an hour. He was everywhere. In the kitchen, standing beside my mom, effortlessly flipping pancakes like he'd been doing it for years. In the living room, laughing at my dad's terrible jokes with just the right amount of enthusiasm. He even knelt by the Christmas tree, pointing at ornaments and asking about their stories. That one's beautiful, he said, lifting a chipped ceramic angel. What's the story there? My mom lit up. Oh, Diane loved that one as a kid. I froze, spatula hovering midair. I had told him about that angel. Years ago. I'd told him about how I cried when I dropped it at 7, how my dad glued it back together, crooked wing and all. I'd told him dozens of stories like that, about this house, this family. Now he was hearing them again, pretending they were new. My sister watched him with soft eyes, clearly pleased. She slipped her arm around his waist, resting her head against his shoulder like this was the most natural thing in the world. At breakfast, my dad asked how they met. I felt it before it happened, that tightening behind my ribs, that warning hum in my ears. He smiled. Actually, it was kind of a mess. She spilled her latte all over my laptop at a coffee shop near my office. My parents laughed. My mom clasped her hands together like she'd just been handed a rom-com. I looked at my sister. She jumped in smoothly. I was mortified. I offered to pay, but he insisted I just buy him dinner instead. They shared a look, practiced, affectionate. I felt sick. He doesn't drink coffee. Not lattes. Not ever. He'd switched to herbal tea years ago because caffeine made him jittery. I remembered teasing him about it. Remembered how specific he was about it. This wasn't a mistake. It was a lie. A small one, maybe. But it slid into place too easily, like it had been rehearsed. I spent the rest of the meal dissociating, nodding when spoken to, smiling when expected. Afterward, I volunteered to do the dishes just to have something solid to focus on. Hot water, plates, the clink of porcelain grounding me in the present. That's when he came into the kitchen. "Hey," he said softly, "you've been really quiet today." I didn't look at him. Christmas does that to me. He picked up a towel, drying a plate, like we were still us, like this was normal. "My girlfriend talks about you all the time," he said. "She really looks up to you." That hurt more than I expected. I swallowed. "She's always been impressive. She really values family," he continued, voice warm, measured. "It's nice when everyone can move forward, you know? Focus on what matters instead of old complications." I finally looked at him. For just a second, the mask slipped. Not guilt, not apology, calculation. Then my sister appeared in the doorway, looping her arms around him from behind. He relaxed instantly, kissed her temple, and whatever tension had been there vanished. "What are you two plotting?" she joked. "Oh, nothing," he said easily. "Just bonding." Bonding. That night, as I lay awake again, one thought wouldn't let go of me. This wasn't just awkward. It was orchestrated. A week after Christmas, the house finally went quiet again. My parents returned to their routines. Decorations came down. Life smoothed itself over the way it always does when no one wants to look too closely at the cracks. My sister and her boyfriend had already gone back to their city, leaving behind hugs, leftovers, and promises to visit soon. I was the only one who felt like something had been left unfinished. I tried to move on. I really did. I cleaned my apartment, boxed up old clothes, told myself I was entering a new year with lighter baggage. That's how I ended up kneeling on the floor of my closet, sorting through an old shoebox filled with things I hadn't looked at in months. Concert tickets, birthday cards, photos that never made it into frames. And then I saw it. His old phone. 6 months ago, he'd upgraded and handed it to me offhandedly, asking if I could see whether it was worth repairing. The screen was cracked, the battery weak. Then we broke up. It slipped out of relevance, out of memory, into this box. I stared at it for a long time. I told myself I was just checking to see if there was anything he might want back, that we hadn't exactly done a clean exchange of belongings, that this was practical, not emotional. The phone still had a little charge. When the screen lit up, my chest tightened. It was still logged in. Same passcode. Same everything. I wish I had stopped there. In his notes app, there was a folder labeled Career Planning. That sounded harmless enough, almost boring. It wasn't. The first note was a profile. My sister's full name, her age, her job title, her estimated salary range, where she lived, her habits, her routines, her relationship with our parents. I scrolled. There were pages of it. Observations about what she valued, what she responded to emotionally, how she talked about commitment, notes about what kind of partner she'd likely take seriously. And then I saw the timeline. Phase 1. Gather information through Diane. Family dynamics. Values. Emotional triggers. Build trust. Extract details casually. My hands started shaking. Phase 2. Create distance. End relationship cleanly. No conflict. Maintain access to family narrative. Phase 3. Initiate contact. Engineer chance meeting. Leverage shared values. Present curated version of self. I sat back on my heels, breath shallow, my brain refusing to catch up to what my eyes were reading. There were contingency plans, alternative approaches, notes on how to respond if she seemed hesitant. Even reminders about my mom's interests, my dad's jokes, our family traditions. Things he only knew because I'd told him, because I trusted him. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I came back, I kept reading. I don't know why. Maybe because once you realize you're standing in a lie, you need to see how deep it goes. The dates destroyed me. He'd started writing these notes before we'd even been together a month. Our relationship hadn't been a mistake. It had been a tool. I sat on the floor until my legs went numb, the phone heavy in my hands, my entire sense of reality rethreading itself around one awful truth. I hadn't been loved. I'd been used as access. And suddenly Christmas made sense. The lies, the performance, the perfection. It wasn't romance. It was execution. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the notes again. Clean bullet points, emotionless phrasing, my life reduced to data. By morning, exhaustion had sharpened into something colder, clearer. I knew exactly what I had to do. I asked my sister to meet me for coffee. I didn't accuse. I didn't explain. I just said I needed to talk. She arrived late, calm, perfectly put together. The kind of calm that used to make me feel like the unstable one by comparison. "What's going on?" she asked, smiling faintly. "You sounded serious." I took out my phone and slid it across the table. "I found his old phone," I said. "I think you should read what's on it." She frowned, confused at first. Then she scrolled. Her expression shifted in stages: dismissal, irritation, something like panic, and finally, acceptance. Not shock, not horror. Acceptance. "You went through his phone?" she said, voice sharpening. "That's a pretty serious violation." I laughed once, short and humorless. "That's what you're leading with?" She leaned back, crossing her arms. "I don't see how this changes anything. People plan their lives all the time." "Not like this," I said. "Not using someone. Not mapping out a family like a project." Her mouth tightened. "It didn't stay that way." I felt my heart drop anyway. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then shrugged. "Maybe it started strategic. Fine. But feelings evolved. What we have is real." I stared at her, seeing her clearly for the first time. "You knew. You knew he dated me to get to you." She didn't deny it. "He told me after," she said, "before things got serious. And you stayed." She looked almost annoyed now. "You're acting like I stole something from you. You were broken up. He didn't cheat." "That's not the point," I said quietly. "He studied us. He lied. He manipulated." She leaned forward. "And yet you're the only one hurt enough to dig through old phones. Don't you think that says something?" There it was. The reframing. The deflection. The subtle suggestion that I was the problem. I stood up. "I'm telling you now," I said. "I won't protect this for you. He deserves to know what he's part of." Her face hardened. "If you do this," she said, "you're going to ruin things, not just for me, for the whole family." I met her eyes. "Then maybe it deserves to be ruined." I walked out before she could respond, hands shaking but spine straight. For the first time since Christmas, I wasn't confused. I was resolved. He came over that Saturday afternoon. I'd asked him to meet me in person, told him it was important, and that I didn't want to do this over the phone. He sounded concerned, but he agreed without hesitation. That alone almost broke me. How easy it still was for him to trust. I had printed everything. Screenshots. Timelines. Notes arranged in chronological order so there would be no room for confusion, no way to brush it off as coincidence or misunderstanding. I needed the truth to stand on its own. When he sat down across from me, he smiled. "What's going on?" I didn't ease into it. "I found your old phone," I said, "and you need to see what was on it." The room went very still as I handed him the pages. He started reading. At first, he frowned, confused, almost amused, like he thought this was some kind of mistake. Then his jaw tightened, his eyes slowed, scanning each line more carefully. He didn't interrupt. When he reached the profile on my sister, his hands began to shake. "This isn't real," he said finally, his voice hoarse. "This has to be out of context or something." I showed him the dates, the metadata, the cross-references, details only someone inside my life could have provided. The realization hit him all at once. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like it had dropped out from under him. "She knew exactly what to say," he muttered, "exactly how to be." "Because it was designed." He told me things then, how fast she'd pushed the relationship forward, how she'd talked about moving, about integrating their lives like it was already decided, how he thought it was love. "I was falling for her," he said quietly, "and she was executing a plan." He confronted her that night. They talked for hours. She denied it at first, then minimized it, then reframed it as ambition. She insisted her feelings were real now, that the beginning shouldn't matter. When he ended it, she got angry. Not heartbroken, angry. She accused him of being manipulated by me, of throwing away something perfect over technicalities. Even at the end, she tried to turn us against each other. She moved out that same night. We never told our parents the full story. We agreed they didn't need it. It just didn't work out, was easier, kinder. In the days that followed, something unexpected happened. My sister became distant, then quiet, then gone. And my ex and I, somehow, found our footing again. Not as lovers, not even as friends, but as two people who had survived the same deception from opposite sides. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't jealous. My instincts had been right all along. I didn't get revenge. I didn't need to. The truth did enough damage on its own. Now, when I think about that Christmas, I don't replay the shock anymore. I remember the moment clarity finally replaced confusion, and I hold on to that. Because being used taught me something I won't forget again. Anyone who has to script love was never capable of feeling it.